Is there a penalty when you don't do that, or when you
Yes.
find them through the?
Well, the good thing is, once it's registered, now they're in the system. So the biggest thing we'll be looking for is trying to find those that are not in the system, and making sure, like, one of the things Jesse brought up today was, like, January 1st, if that's your inspection date, but you don't get the things fixed until January the next year, well, you still, from that first January, should be your 3 years. Well, there's been a lot of issues there, and we're correcting everything. That's the goal here. Your inspection date is 3 years apart, no matter what, when you get things fixed. And you only got so much time. So we're trying to really coordinate and figure out how we can better address all these things. The ERP system we see is really going to help that. But in the meantime, we're putting the troops in place to go after this situation.
Thank you.
So it's treated just like it's a reoccupancy? I mean, some of these homes may not have been, or if the house was sold. Some of these houses, people may not have been, change of ownership for 20, 30 years. So until you get that inspection, people can't move in. Couple items, one additional ways of determining, if they're rentals or not, is to look at water bills, because I would expect that a lot of maybe the landlords are trying to push the water bill onto the tenants. We could post in Taylor today, if you're renting and you have an issue with your rental, you can check with the city of Taylor to see the last time it was inspected. And then third, dealing with difficult tenants, people that don't want the city in their rental. I don't think we have anything on our books and in our ordinances where the landlords are trying to follow the law and the tenants won't allow the city to come in.
Through the chair, there's the opposite of that too, where tenants are being intimidated to where, they're afraid to reach out to the city because, their landlord's threatening them if they do because, they're living in, not the greatest conditions and their landlord's not living up to their end of the bargain. So, this is something that needs to be addressed. And like Councilman Johnson said, this is something we were talking about, the first 4 years we were elected, and, it just kept kind of, falling through and it's time. It's
I think this, during your time, I know 2011, 2014, and 2017, the city had the house that I grew up in, and I was on the council when this was instituted 20 years ago, so I made sure I registered mine. That would be actually, you guys, the city came out, and it was every 3 years, but I had a renter that did not want smart meters, did not want the city to come into the property, and that posed issues with, getting things done on a timely basis. So certainly we've got an issue with slumlords, but we also have potential issues. We have a penalty for the landlords, but we don't have any stick to get the
And through the chair, there is DTE reaches out to us because there are some meters that are still in the house. And DTE will reach out to us because they have to do so many steps. And if the homeowner doesn't reach out to them, they have the right at that point to turn off their gas just so that the homeowner will allow them to get in their house and service their meter or something. But they have to do so many attempts and stuff, and I think we have that ability to do that with water, right?
Well, yeah, we basically initiate I'm sorry, through the chair, we initiate a non-communication. It's, we will not shut people's water off for non-payment if they can't afford it, but, just the mere fact that if you're not communicating with us, we've had to use it a handful of times. It hasn't happened very often, but, just the fact that, you just got to communicate with us.
Councilwoman Whitten.
2 quick questions. So through the chair to the mayor. So you're not hiring yet. You're going to bring a plan forward.
Absolutely. You have to approve this because it would require a budget.
Okay. And then my second, which I was going to ask in open business, but Airbnbs or short-term rentals, do those fall under rental? And I know that there was, at one point, there was state legislation, possibly, I think at one point it was trying to not let municipalities enact ordinance. What is the law right now? Just because I did get a complaint of someone, and if we're inspecting rentals and then someone has a short-term rental, it's not a homestead, you know, how, and I know we don't have to answer that today, but it's something I think that we all need to think about. What are we allowed to do? And then if we can't, and it's not the desire of this body, I guess, to say we don't want to allow that in the city, how do those fall in to rental inspections and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to? Because I know I wouldn't want it next to me. I mean, I wouldn't want people in and out.
I think we're safe.
Yeah.
Just guessing.
Through the chair, there are some in the city of Taylor.
There's some, no, there
Yeah,
are
some
not
in
a
the city
lot,
of
but
Taylor.
there's,
Yeah,
yes.
no, there is, and, it's something that, through the chair, I'm not really familiar with that whole thing, but.
I'm not either.
I do feel that they should fall under like a rental, you
Yeah.
know, they should fall under that, and, but it is something that I'm not
I
really
think, yeah, I
familiar
just
with.
think it's something
So it
as
is
we're
something
doing this, we
definitely
need
have
to
explore.
explore one to Corporation Council. Like, I know, like I said, I didn't research it ahead of here. I got an email complaint about one. And so I was gonna send an email on it, but we're talking about rentals and I think we need to explore that and see. And then I just want to commend, I know Matt Bonza and I have talked going back again years ago that he was really diligent in trying, it's a big thing to tackle. So kudos to him for starting it. But it's been a problem for a while, for sure. Okay, that was all.
Councilwoman?
Yeah, so I'm curious about that. I hadn't heard that before, so some people are, so what would be the process in that? If you wanted to have your home in Taylor be an Airbnb, would you have to register that
So-
as it is right now?
So through the chair, I would think so, because at the end of the day, it's still a rental. I'm not, like I said, I'm not familiar. I'd have to get with Jesse to see if we do require that. Maybe Matt does know. Okay,
Some people that
he
go
knows.
to Florida.
Working
Yeah.
for a job?
Through the chair, this has come up before, and actually I've had conversation with Dave Greco about this. We basically have to create an ordinance. Ann Arbor has one,
Okay,
so that's what we would compare it to, is looking at Ann Arbor's. There's nothing there, because we've tried to go through and ticket people for not, having an Airbnb, and there's nothing we can find within our ordinances currently. So that's what would have to be done.
Interesting.
So I
Thank
just
you.
went on Airbnb, and you could find every one of those locations, you know, and, you know, looking at the prices, $96 a night, $118. You can see where that's cheaper for people than to have, you know, to go to a hotel room. So our proximity to the airport,
Yeah.
certainly,
Well, through the chair, when the police assisted with Homeland Security, they used an Airbnb in the city of Taylor, and that's how they were able to lure the child predators and arrest them.
Well, too, we could probably see, Chairman, sorry, we could probably see who they are because they're listed on the site as Airbnb.
yeah, I think it could be Airbnb, Verbo.
yeah, there's all different,
Marketplace. Yeah,
there's all
but
different
yes,
types.
I think it's definitely another way to start looking and
I
seeing
mean,
what's
they-
out there.
They are renting it, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what well, anyway, it's a good question for Corporation Council. You know, again, I don't think we can ban them, but certainly,
Right,
Right.
you know,
some sort of ordinance to assist at least.
if the current one, you know, doesn't apply, you know, makes sense to me. Number one, they are renting it out. Number two, you know, that they would have to be inspected every 3 years to make certain that, you know, everything's up to code. Yeah, simple things like, fire alarms, you know, they go through and test every single plug and the fire alarms and everything else.
Sure.
Okay, any other discussion on the rental inspection program? Hearing none, motion to receive and file, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Yeses have it, motion carried.